Alright, so in this VTM, we're going to be taking a look at creating particle systems inside of Unreal. Now, what are particles? Essentially, a particle is just a point in space. And inside of Unreal, you have a lot of control over how these guys behave, how they look, and so on and so forth. Now, driving this video is going to be my good friend, Mr. Joel Van Enwick.
Woohoo!
How you doing, Joel?
I'm doing all right. How about you?
Doing pretty good, man. And I'm pretty much going to be sitting here watching, playing the part of the student, if you will, just kind of asking questions and following along.
Hopefully it won't be as hard for you as it is for Buzz.
I hope not. So, let's have a
first off,
look.
I guess we can take a look at what particles, how these emitters work. So we already have a level going on in here, and we're going to be showing you all these particle systems throughout these lessons. So we're going to show how we create this waterfall, this flame, all these boulders, which is a mesh emitter, and everything.
You realize you just cut me off a second ago?
Did I really?
Like, I was still talking, and you just, like, chimed right in and started talking. Do you have any idea how rude that is?
I'm sorry.
So anyway, as I complete my thought, Joel is going to tell us the kind of things we're going to be covering in this video. Please continue, Joel.
And presuming we have a mesh emitter, which is releasing meshes, static meshes, which are boulders.
Oh, the big black marshmallows there?
Yes, the big black marshmallows. And, of course, as I said before, we have this fire. Now, how do we create an emitter? Well, first thing is we go to the actor browser, and if you look down here...
Well, hang on. Before you tell us, how to create an emitter, why don't you tell us what an emitter is?
Well, an emitter is something that is going to allow us to emit particles. Now, there's all sorts of different emitters inside of our main central emitter. If we double-click on an emitter, for example, and come down to the emitter tab, and look inside of this, we can add as many individual emitters inside of one central emitter as we want.
So we have like an emitter object within which we could add multiple, like, I guess you could almost call them sub-emitters. Yeah. All right, very cool.
So we can, for instance, on our waterfall here, we have one sprite emitter. Now, there's all sorts of different kinds of emitters that we have. If I say add another one, look at this list. We have beam emitter, mesh emitters, spark emitter, sprite emitter, trail emitter, all these different kinds of emitters for different kinds of circumstances. For instance, most of the time, I don't really want to say that, but a lot of the time, what you're going to be using...
You didn't say it.
is the sprite emitter. And that's a really common one. I mean, if you look in the scene here, our flame is a sprite emitter. The waterfall we have here is a sprite emitter. This down here, this teleport type object here, is a sprite emitter. But we also have other kinds of emitters, like this beam emitter here, which allows us to do things like lightning bolts.
Very cool.
And this thing here, which is emitting meshes, which is also really useful.
Now, before you get too far, basically what I was trying to get across earlier was that the emitter object, or I guess you could even call it the emitter actor, is essentially what is pumping the particles into our scene, or into our level. So our emitter is what makes the particles.
That's right, and you can have...
Time to make the particles.
Right, you can set up how many particles there are, etc., etc., all sorts of cool stuff.
Okay, very cool.
And I guess one last thing that I was going to say is...
Other than how cool that fire looks?
Other than how cool that fire looks.
Why don't you zoom in on that? I'm a pyromaniac at heart, so I want to see that. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, fire.
Oh, fire.
Yeah.
Rock and roll.
So cool. Oh, yeah. So I guess, really, I'm happy with that. That's a pretty good intro. And in the next lesson, what we're going to be doing is creating this nice little waterfall that we got going on here. So I guess we might as well go ahead and get started. You want to add anything?
No, actually, I just want to get started. I want you to hurry up, quit dawdling, and get started with the next lesson. Would you do that, please?
I will.
Awesome, dude.
So, thanks, everyone.